Hi there, I'm Amy Blaisdell, Communications Director for the City of Palm Springs, and I'm here with our Mayor, Geoff Kors. And today I'm going to conduct a Q&A with Mayor Kors regarding the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic and what we're doing in Palm Springs to protect the health and safety of everyone who lives and works here. In addition, we're going to talk a little bit about the Mayor's new task force, about how we're going to put a plan together to move safely and successfully towards getting our economy moving forward again once Governor Newsom announces that we can finally lift some of the precautions related to COVID-19. So thank you for being here, Mayor Kors.
Thank you.
And let's get started.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, Mayor Kors, the City of Palm Springs was the first Coachella Valley city to issue a shelter-in-place order on March 17th at an emergency city council meeting. Since then, our city leaders and staff have worked hard to protect the health and safety of everyone and keep them well informed so we can flatten the curve. Can you elaborate a little bit about when you first recognized the spread of COVID-19 was a global pandemic that the city needed to get ahead of quickly?
Sure. Early on, we called a press conference where we brought mayors from other cities, Dr. Cameron Kaiser, the head of public health for the county, Supervisor Perez, together to start educating the public about what needed to happen. And as we saw this progress and the governor's recommendations, I called a special meeting so we could discuss whether we wanted to take his recommendations and make them rules here in Palm Springs. And one of the key factors was looking at our population. 40% of our residents are 60 years of age and older. We know we have many residents with underlying health conditions and compromised immune systems. And so I reached out to Dr. Kaiser about us taking this lead role, I think one of the first cities that isn't also a county in the state to do this, because we have such a vulnerable population. He thought it was a good idea and he supported that.
Thank you. I know our residents really appreciated that we really got ahead of it. Okay, our next question. There's no doubt that since the outbreak of COVID-19, our local businesses and workers have been hugely impacted. The City Council and our staff have been working incredibly hard to provide a large array of useful information and resources for everyone in need. Can you touch on some of what's been implemented and how we're trying to help everyone?
Sure, and I really appreciate your work and staff's work, including people whose jobs are such that they're now at home, who are scouring for information to put on our website. So people have one place to go to get information for homeowners, for renters, for businesses, how to apply for loans. All of those programs and medical information is all on our website. And so at the very top of the website is the COVID-19 area. And if you click on that, it'll take you to a whole bunch of information broken out into different categories so people can find it. We've also done several webinars, which people can see on the website if they did not participate. We did one with the Chamber and the Coachella Valley Small Business Development Center, and that really focused on how to apply for the SBA loans and the payment protection plans and answer questions, and that was very well attended. People, not just throughout the valley, but we had people all through the state who participated and listened to that. And we have another one that's getting planned right now, given a new bill looks like it's going to get passed in Congress. So we want to make sure we get that information out to our businesses ASAP, because it ran out of money very quickly, and we want to make sure our businesses have a fair chance to get those resources. We also hosted a webinar that we put together on issues for workers, for employees, for renters, and for residents, issues regarding property taxes, employment discrimination. Palm Springs passed a moratorium on evictions for 6 months, both for residential and commercial property owners. So all that information is on there. And we're going to continue to do these because we think it's so important that people have the most accurate information. It's not all information that we like right now, of course, but the most important thing is to get the most accurate, honest information out to the public, out to businesses, and let them know what programs are available to help them so they can apply for them. And we also have staff who can answer questions on those programs as well. We have a hotline, we have an email address, and places people can call to get information or email to get information. And I'm sure that will be shown on the screen below on this.
Absolutely. And everything can be found on our website at palmspringsca.gov.
And this, of course, will be also closed captioning. on this because it's really important. People can't see our mouths move right now. It's even extra important that we have closed captioning on whatever we do. And when people watch our city council meetings, we have closed captioning on channel 17, so people can watch on that in order to get closed captioning. So it's just want people to know that that's available as a service for them. And I know there are also interviews being conducted in Spanish, and we're getting information out in Spanish as well.
That's right. We're trying to reach out to everyone.
So important right now.
The next question, the city is following the County of Riverside order asking all residents to wear a face covering in public. Why is this so important?
The County of Riverside issued this order about 2 weeks ago that says that whenever you're in public, you need to wear a face covering. Not a medical mask, definitely not one that public safety and our healthcare workers need. We need those for them. But masks like what we're wearing, a scarf, a bandana. And it serves two purposes. The most important purpose is it prevents you, if you are infected with the virus, and so many people are asymptomatic and don't know they're infected with the virus, from having any virus particles be able to get out. Now, some will. It isn't 100% effective, but it does limit the amount of virus that can get out and potentially contaminate someone else. And it offers you some protection. But it does even more to prevent you from getting someone else infected if that happens. And of course, one person getting someone infected could get 50 people or 100 people infected. And we really want to be careful given our frontline personnel here. If you think about, it's not just police, fire, emergency, medical who put their lives on the line every day for us. And we can't risk them getting infected because if it's spread through those departments, there's no backup for those people. So it's so important we take these precautions. Post office workers, delivery workers, grocery workers, workers in essential businesses and restaurants. We need to do everything we can to protect them because they're having higher incidences because they're exposed to so many more people. We may not be exposed to that many people individually, but there are people out there who are and who are doing an amazing job, and they're all heroes, and we need to make sure we're protecting them and not risking infecting them if we go to the grocery store.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So as we all know, this has been an incredibly difficult time for not only residents and business owners, but also for city finances. COVID-19 has led to an unprecedented loss of revenue when it comes to transient occupancy tax, sales tax, and loss of other important fees that help our city operate. Can you expand a little bit about what this will mean for the upcoming fiscal year budget?
Sure. And, we're in the middle of a 2-year budget that we're going to have to make significant changes to. Just the impacts for March, April, May, and June that we anticipate will pretty much eat away at any reserve we have. And the city has more than doubled the reserve over the last 3 to 4 years, which has been great because without that, we'd be in an even worse situation. But the almost total loss of TOT and sales tax, which are major pieces of our budget, and looking a year ahead, potential loss in property tax revenue as well. So we really have to dig in deep, and Councilmember Middleton and I are the budget liaisons and working closely with staff over the last few weeks to really take a look at it, look at what assets we have that we might be able to sell, other ways we can bring in revenue, as well as whether and what cuts will be necessary. And so that obviously will be decided by council in close consultation with staff, with public input, because we really want the public's input on these very hard decisions. But the analysis shows that this is just going to be much more difficult than the recession a decade ago. And unfortunately, and we heard this from Senator McConnell, he's not open at this point to allowing governments to get any of the same funding that businesses can get. And that's going to really be devastating, especially for smaller cities. Governments over 500,000 did get some money, but for us, getting absolutely no support when, of course, we provide essential services, including public safety, is going to be devastating for the economy. So we're going to do everything we can to minimize the impacts and be smart about how we do this.
Thank you. Finally, the COVID-19 outbreak has been very stressful and difficult for everyone. Do you think there's a bright side for Palm Springs and the Coachella Valley?
I think this has been so difficult. And, there are times the sadness comes in waves and it's just overwhelming. But I think what I've seen in Palm Springs residents and businesses is how many have stepped up. Businesses that are providing free meals for homeless residents. Businesses that are, providing food to healthcare workers or public safety workers in our city. People helping each other. Mayor Pro Tem Hostich has been involved in, this neighbor helping neighbor, and has reached out to people to go out and do grocery shopping for people who can't get out or can't afford it. My husband James went and did grocery shopping for an elderly woman. That's the kind of thing that you see in this town because we treat each other like family. And that's why I'm so confident we will get through this, because we'll do it together. We care about each other, and we're such a wonderful community. The other thing is I'm so appreciative of the business community and our residents who have overwhelmingly been supportive and followed the rules. The police have found overwhelming compliance, and if someone has not been in compliance and they explain to them the rules, everyone has been great. We haven't had repeat offenders. We have not seen that behavior here. And the results speak for themselves. Early on, we were considered a hotspot, the Coachella Valley, in the number of cases and deaths. And Dr. Kaiser from Riverside County said Palm Springs was ground zero. We are 0.1% of the population in the state of California, and the Coachella Valley's less than 1% of the population. Yet the Valley was almost 20% of the deaths, and we were 10% of the deaths. We have seen such a flattening of the curve here, much more so than in the county and in the state. We are on track for doubling cases at 3 weeks, maybe even more. So that's because people have done such a great job. So even with all the extra testing that's happening, we have not seen a spike in new cases. That said, 9 of our residents have died as a result of COVID-19, and it's heartbreaking. And when you look at the cases in the Valley and country and the world, this is such a heartbreaking time. And, we can talk about rules and, whether golf is safe and all the things that we talk about, but ultimately, this is about saving lives. And absolutely, really early on, the predictions were that things were going to be so much worse, and we were going to have so many more deaths and cases here in Palm Springs in the Valley. But the Valley, I think overall, has done a great job, and we are seeing more progress here than in a lot of other places because our residents and businesses have overwhelmingly stepped up and done the right thing. And that's really the glimmer of hope that we may get through this faster than some had predicted. And that's what we all want. We want to get through this safely and quickly. And we're not going to do quickness and give up public safety, but of course we want to get both done.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, just one more question. Yesterday, you announced a new task force to get our economy moving again safely and successfully once Governor Newsom announces we can ease precautions for COVID-19. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that will mean for our city?
Sure. And as the liaison to the Chamber and to all our tourism and hospitality organizations, I'm on meetings with all these different groups, and we have so many great business and tourism organizations who represent thousands upon thousands of businesses. But I want to make sure that the leadership of them was talking to each other, that we would bring each organization and let each of them pick whoever they wanted as a representative and encourage them to think about diverse representation. So we have 2 local restaurants, we have a local bar, we have local retail, we have hotels, both the large hotels and the small hotels. Chairman Gruby from the tribe is joining us. We really wanted to have representatives from all of those entities because they could hear from their members, report back. We could discuss what's in common, what's different, and they could take it back to their membership. So it was really meant as a conduit for those kind of conversations. And the real focus is once the governor says it's safe to phase in reopening, and the governor has been very clear he's going to take the time as necessary to do it safely and smartly, and we will follow that advice. We want to be ready. So if it's safe to have tourists come back and maybe it's safer to have them, just from Southern California, which is the more likely place, right? We're going to see a change in our tourists at first. People are not going to be flying as far. We may not see the European influx we normally get in the summer, or people from the East Coast as much. But that also means people in the drive market aren't going far away and may want to come here. So once we have the safe guidelines, we want to have the marketing ready. I heard from a number of businesses on Main Street, they'd like some lessons in how to increase their social media during this. So that's the kind of stuff. And then we will get that out to every business. We'll do town halls for all the business community to get that information. If there are issues where we think we need to go beyond state law as far as additional safety requirements, we will bring in the medical experts who I've already spoken with to advise on that and share that with the public. So this is really meant as a conduit for the different business organizations who have members to talk to one another and get input from their membership and bring it back and really set up our marketing plans, and how we want to do this so we can continue to get out of this as successfully as possible. The last thing any of us want in Palm Springs, and I think it's true in most places, is to do it too soon and see a resurgence and have us go backwards and then have to do another month of quarantine. So this is going to happen phased. Even if we wanted to do anything sooner, which we couldn't, and we don't, the governor is the one in control of the situation. And he has been very thoughtful on this and very helpful. There are a couple places we've gone a little further, and if we need to do that, we will. And I really want to thank our residents and businesses. And, one thing is everyone is stressed. We're all having a hard time. There's no one who isn't. But some people are having a harder time than others. And the most important thing is let's be kind to each other. Thank the grocery workers. They are out there. They are having more cases than a lot of other folks. Thank the healthcare workers. Thank our police and fire and emergency medical. When you see your post person or a delivery person bring something, make sure they know how much you appreciate what they're doing that make all of our lives work better during this crisis. When we're stressed in our personal relationships, it can be hard. And it's always important to remember to be kind and to take care of one another. And that's what our city does so well. So thank you, and thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Mayor Kors.
Appreciate it.
Stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe.